Hello, welcome to Alchemy Animation. It is the 12th part of a series called The Invisible Princess is Bored Again Today. Let's begin. With a smile, Helena's father said, "Yes, let's investigate everything, even the matters that seem trivial. Which means this will take a while, so brace yourselves. And also remember this as well. Both of you are of House Feresca, so not get angry, we get even. Let's each of us carry out our duties until the investigation yields result." Leonard said, "Yes, father, we will do that." Helena said, "Leave it to us, father." And then less than a month had passed since the deal with the Empress. The imperial family announced the engagement of Ulrika and the crown prince. The engagement party is going to be held soon, and the invitation reached to Feresca family also. At the palace, Helena was reading the invitation letter. In an anger she said, "I really don't want to go." But then she was thinking that should I go? I was taken to a strange banquet, where they made an official declaration or something like that. In the banquet, Helena met the Empress. In front of all guests, the Empress said, "Princess Feresca, is there anything you would like to take advantage of this opportunity?" Helena replied, "Yes, I want to take advantage of this opportunity." She said, "I will use this opportunity to make it clear that my commitment to the crown prince is broken. So I will not be crowned as crown princess in the future." All of the guests were a bit surprised after hearing this. At the current time, in a wavering voice, she said, "They have the audacity to send me an invitation to the engagement party." Her body was also shivering. Agathe came towards her and said, "Miss, I think it would be better if you don't go." Helena replied, "Even if I tell them that I can't come because I am sick, they would not believe it." Agathe asked, "Then how about actually making it work?" Helena asked, "How making things happen?" Agathe replied, "The draconian meeting is being held these days." Helena asked, "Where did you hear that?" Agathe replied, "Miss Everett delivers food at the mansion. She was the one who told me. She said she would go to that party. So what about visiting it sometime?" While drinking a tea, Helena said, "Good, get ready." Agathe replied, "Yes, miss." And then both of them left for their short trip. Both of them were standing outside of a small house. Agathe said, "Excuse me, I came to see Miss Everett." Someone said, "Oh, Miss Agathe, good day." It was Everett. She asked, "What brings you here?" Agathe said, "Our Lady wants to ask you something." Helena said, "Hello, Miss Everett." The woman greeted Helena. Helena said, "I would like to know about the party you participated in." The woman said, "Oh, I see. It's not something we should talk about here. So would you like to come inside?" And then both of them came inside of her house. They were sitting on the chairs and the woman asked, "Are you curious about the Draco religion?" Helena said, "Yes, Miss Everett. Are you a member of the draconian religion?" The woman replied, "No, I'm not a believer. I don't go there often because the atmosphere there is scary." With a sweaty face, Helena said, "Scary?" The woman replied, "A person named the leader of the cult uses strange magic. That is the power of a dragon. He can teleport or levitate objects in the air." Helena was thinking that it's magic, right? "There are still wizards in this era," the woman said, "and above all there are rumors that they use people as sacrifices." After hearing this, both of them were shocked. Agathe said, "Please tell us a little more about that rumor." With a sweaty face, the woman said, "Okay." She said, "There are other places where I delivered the food apart Feresca house. I have been hearing recently that people have been disappearing. There was one person who disappeared, but later he came back. In fear, he said, there is a brown-haired woman. She tried to eat me." He just kept repeating those words. The woman said, "I just heard it too, that's all I know." Helena asked, "Have you ever seen their leader in person?" The woman replied, "I saw him from afar. He was a younger man than I thought, and he was also blonde." After hearing this, an image came in Helena's mind. She said, "A young blonde man, right?" The woman said, yes, that's right. Helena asked Miss Everett, do you know when the next meeting is? The woman was thinking about it, and then said, there will be one more this weekend. It would be done in Port Square in the slums. And then after talking for a while, they were about to leave and Helena said, thank you, Miss Everett, you have been very helpful. And then after some days, Agathe and Helena were hiding behind a wall at the slum Port Square. Agathe said, Miss, I think they are about to get started. Helena said, we need to have a closer look, so, let's move. Both of them enter inside the crowd. Helena was thinking that the number of people increased so quickly. Are there any draconians? And then suddenly someone pushed her and said, move fast. Helena said, don't push. The man apologized instantly. But then Helena was thinking that I think I heard that voice somewhere. Was it an illusion? But then Agathe said, Miss, there are a lot of people. I hope we can see the leader today. All of the people there started to worship. Helena was thinking that they worshiped dragons, without even knowing what the dragon did to humans. And then suddenly a blonde man started to float in the air. He said, everyone, thank you for gathering here today. Helena was shocked after seeing that man. The man said, those of you who show such sincerity are the people who will receive the greatest blessing when the dragon comes. Helena was thinking that the voice is quite young. Like Everett said, he must be in his 30s. When I first met Noah, he was in his mid-20s. The man said the day when the dragon will come is not so far. Finally, when the soul is ready, the dragon will return to us. The people were saying the dragon will come. They were cheering for it. And saying, yes, the dragon will come. Someone asked when the dragon will return to us? And then the man used magic on some people. They were started to float in the air. The crowd were shouting, look, they are flying. It's the power of the dragon. The man said only the chosen ones can use the power of the dragon. The chosen ones are those who praise passionately. One of the men said, oh, the mighty dragon. And then the people started to pray by saying, oh, the mighty dragon. Helena was thinking that, this is ridiculous. That's understandable that they become amazed for some magic tricks. Especially mysterious to commoners. When it is shown right in front of their eyes, no one will doubt it. However, Agathe was also surprised. She said, what did I just witness? It was just amazing. Helena said, Agathe, calm down. Now is not the time to be amazed. The man said, all those who have faith in dragon can follow me. I will guide you to where the dragon is. In a shocked state, Helena was thinking that what? The man was spreading a very unique aura. And then he asked, is there anyone who wants to meet the dragon in person? The people were murmuring and saying the dragon himself. Helena was thinking that there is no way that's possible. There is no way we can meet a dragon that has already disappeared. But then suddenly the people started to raise their hands one by one. They were saying, take me, no, take me. They were fighting with each other and saying, please choose me. In that ruckus, a man collided with Helena. Helena looked towards that person and said, don't push. The man said, I'm sorry for that, princess. Helena was surprised after seeing his face. She said, Viscount not. Both of them were shocked. They were asking, why are you here? The crowd also saw them and they started to murmuring. They were saying why the nobles are here. What are they doing? Both of them were looking around themselves and thinking that, oh no, we got busted. The Viscount said, oh, that's not like it is. I'm not a noble man. My name is Viscount. Helena stepped on his foot and said, be quiet if you are going to talk nonsense. The people were shouting. It's obvious why the nobles came here. They must have come to disrupt our meeting. Maybe it was sent by a crusade. We must catch them. Helena said, damn it, run now. People were started to chase them and saying everyone chase them. The man who was floating in the air said, "Most welcome our guest, and since we have special guests, let me show you something special." And then the men did some magic. After seeing it, Helena was shocked. She was thinking that how? A god grabbed her hand and said, "It's dangerous here, we must run fast." The magic was that there was a woman sitting on the chair. They were running, and then the Viscount said, "Over there, you have to go to that direction. My mansion is nearby, so just run over there." A god said yes. And then all of them reached to the mansion. The Viscount said, "I really thought I was going to die." He asked why on earth the princess was there. Helena replied, "Where should I start from? Do you remember the strange pattern we saw when that demonic beast died?" The man said, "Yes, of course." Helena said, "I asked Ulrika Brandt to decipher it." After hearing this, the Viscount was shocked. He said, "Now I know. How do they know the identity of the pattern? Who would have thought the culprit of the situation is here?" Helena said, "Anyway, the meaning of the pattern was, 'Welcome the coming king,' and they said that the king could be the evil dragon, Krozek. That's why I came to investigate the Draco religion." The man said, "My reason to be there was also the same. I heard that this religion is the reason for the increase in the number of demons, so I went there to check it by myself. And recently people related to that religion have been disappearing. Security forces view it as a voluntary religion, just act rather than a disappearance." Agat said, "If it's voluntary, is it like they were investigating and dragging them along like before?" The man replied, "I guess so. I wonder if the real dragon will be resurrected like this." Helena said that would not be it. The man asked, "How does the princess know that?" Helena said, "Did not you see it earlier when he said that he should show us something special? And then a person appeared in the air? And that's the emperor who sealed the dragon. It was Dante Renatus." The Viscount said, "If it's Dante Renatus, isn't she the previous emperor?" But then in a shocking way the Viscount said, "No way, the Emperor Dante is a dragon?" Helena replied, "That's not it." Agat said, "That's right, it did not seem to be the dragon itself, because it was called Dragon's Fragment. But what is the relationship between the two?" Helena said, "In fact, Emperor Dante at that time, the dragon was sealed using magic? In one's own heart. That's why I said it was a fragment of the dragon, because part of Dante's body is also part of the dragon." The man asked, "Is something like that possible with magic?" Agat was very amazed after hearing this. She asked, "How do you know this?" Helena replied, "I saw it in a book." Agat said, "As expected from Our Lady, she knows everything." But then she said, "I have doubts. What we saw today is really Dante." Helena said, "That's right. She was thinking that it's my body so I can recognize it. The scar I got while killing a dragon, it was the same." She said, "Of course it's a bit odd because it's too clean to be considered a corpse." Viscount said, "I know why Emperor Dante's body, she was not buried. It was embalmed and placed in the basement of the main sanctuary of the crusade. Because she was the greatest." After hearing this, Helena stood up in a surprised way. She said, "What?" And then in the very low energy, Helena sit back on the sofa and thinking that, "Oh my dear friend Eris, what did you do? You should have buried me in the ground." Who would have thought that they would have suffered such shame for 500 years? Agat said, "Well, by the way, Emperor Dante's body is in the hands of the cult leader. It's a part of the dragon in that body." Then as the cult leader said, "If they only have a soul, the dragon will return. Isn't it possible for a dragon to be resurrected?" The Viscount said, "We cannot ignore that possibility. This is a problem because there is no solution. Right now there is no Dante Renatus to slay the dragon." After a while both Agat and Helena returned to their mansion. Helena was standing in front of Leonard. She was thinking that I know if the dragon was resurrected in this era. After all, it is important to somehow prevent it before it responds. Leonard said, Helena, did you have a good time? I was worried because it was a dangerous place, but you came back safely. Helena said, what? You know where I have been. He replied, of course I am your brother. Any news about the mansion comes to my ears eventually. Helena said, okay, I guess I was complacent, little Duke. He said, Helena, I'm glad you came back in time. I have news for you. She asked, what news? He told her, change your clothes first. I will be waiting for you in the living room. Both the god and Helena were confused at what he wants to say and what is the news. After a while, Leonard said, come Helena, sit down. Someone said your father is here too, and so do I, instructor. It was the Knight Commander. He said, long time no see. Helena asked why Hawk is here. But then she realized and said, I guess they investigated. Horio merchant ship workers. The commander said, yes, it is me. Helena's father said, seems like there is something important. Now then, even Helena is also here, so tell me. The commander said, yes, then I will tell you without any hesitation. It's smuggling. I found out about it to the Empress. Helena asked, if it's smuggling, did you bring in something like silk? The commander was taking something out from his clothes and said, no, it's much more interesting. He took out that and said, could you please take a look at this? All of them were looking at it, and they were covering their nose. Leonard said, it smells bad. Is it tea leaves? Helena said, no, it's belladonna used as poison. She tightens her fist and thinking that, I can't believe I get to see belladonna again. She was thinking that, the mercenary days of my last life, a colleague used to smoke it, saying it was an herb from the continent. And then few months later, blue bruises spread all over his body, and then he died in the end. I can't believe they smuggled such dangerous item. What on earth were they thinking? The commander said that's not all, other than belladonna. It was revealed that several poisons had been smuggled. But then suddenly stopped a few months ago. This was right before they framed the Vice Captain Leonard. Helena said, I can see what their plan is, what the Horio family was smuggling. They got caught at Valor Street, on the condition of covering up that fact. They probably told us to attack our family, Feresca. Horio's misjudgment, I misjudgment that we would be taken lightly. Helena's father said, since the smuggled goods are hazardous goods, we can also use them, the false accusation of treason. Helena raised her hand and said, well, father, I have a good idea. With a smile she said, why don't we cover up this matter? It would be a waste to reveal it right away. With a sweaty face, Leonard and her father were looking at her. Helena's father asked, a waste? What do you mean? Helena. She said, Leonard already returned to us safely, so we should gain nothing from exposing it. Her father said, this is not about gain, it is a crime. She said, that's why we have to cover it up even more. With a bright smile she said, so that we can use it at the crucial moment to blackmail them. After hearing this, her father was shocked. She said, let's wait for the right time. Leonard nodded and said, yes, father, Helena has a point. We need to investigate this more carefully. We need to uncover details such as where they sold them, from where they got it. If we thoughtlessly expose the crime and House Horio is punished, then who actually used the belladonna will cut their ties and flee. His father said, you do have a point, then I shall discuss this with His Highness. After hearing this, both Leonard and Helena were smiling while looking at each other. After some time, Helena was sitting in her room and drinking a tea. Helena told about this to Agat, and then she said, that is how it turned out, and we now have Horio's weakness. Agat said, that's a relief, my lady. Helena said it's too early to say that, and I'm also worried that the evil dragon will come back to life at any minute, and infiltrating another rally in disguise. Agathe said no. That's too dangerous, my lady. His Highness would search Draco's headquarters, so please be patient. And then Helena laughed and said, I feel so restless just sitting around. But then suddenly Agathe started to laugh very loudly. Helena asked, what is it about? Why are you laughing? Agathe replied, I am laughing because everything used to bore you, but you have changed so much. While scratching her cheek, Helena said, well, you might not think it, but I'm trying my best. But then suddenly someone opened the door and shouted, my lady, my apologies for the sudden intrusion. Helena looked at him and asked, what is it? The person said, I have heard that His Majesty passed away just now. After hearing this, Helena was shocked. She was thinking that what? And then the Emperor's sudden passing promised many changes. Everyone was paying attention to see if House Valera's power would remain as indomitable as before. After all, the reign of Caesar Grey, the new emperor, would change many things. And now Caesar became the new emperor of the kingdom. All of the guests and nobles were bowing in front of him and said, long live His Majesty the Emperor. Helena looked at him and thinking that Caesar, he lost a lot of weight in that time, since I have not seen him. The Empress came towards him and said, congratulations, Your Majesty. May you continue the former emperor's legacy and be a wise ruler. Caesar said, I shall gladly accept your counsel, Empress Dowager. With a smile the Empress said, thank you, Your Majesty. After a few days, Helena was standing near the window of her palace. She said, I know the Empress Dowager will not leave Caesar alone. And at the moment Caesar is essentially sitting on a branch studded with thorns, and you just don't know when the branch will break. And if there is a silver lining to all this, it's that Leonard is the commander of the Imperial Guard. But other than that, everyone else around Caesar is from House Valera. I wonder if there is a way? And then someone knocked on the door. Helena looked towards it. It's Agathe, she said. Lady Evergreen is here. Helena asked Rowena, tell her to come in. Rowena entered and said, it's been a while, my lady. She were holding few documents and said, it's a tense period, so I came to ask how you are faring. Helena said, please take a seat first, Rowena. Helena said, I worry more about Caesar than myself. Rowena said, he is all right. That is what he told me to say. Helena smiled and said, how very like him. Rowena said he probably doesn't want to worry those around him. However, some aristocrats have been thoughtlessly pestering His Majesty non-stop. Helena said he's probably about to explode. Rowena said yes, he is on the verge. But then with a smile Rowena said, it would be wonderful if you could go to him in times like these. Helena asked, is there any way I could see him, even if it's only for a few minutes? The lady said, there are too many people of House Valera in the palace at the moment, so it will be very difficult. Helena asked, is the situation dire? Rowena replied, yes. The House Valera has taken charge of the advisory council and is meddling with personal decisions. Helena said, what a headache. Rowena said, thankfully, Duke Feresca has been working hard on his own end. Helena said, that's a relief. And Caesar, I saw that he's gotten rather gaunt. But then suddenly, Helena said, oh, was it thoughtless of me to say that? I'm sorry, Rowena. Rowena said, it's all right. That is something we naturally do need to concern ourselves with. Helena asked, should not Ulrica be the one who handles such matters? While thinking about it, Rowena said, well, she does seem to be trying her best. His Majesty's eyes bring her to the verge of tears. But she stubbornly has tea with him on a regular basis. Helena said, that's commendable. but also irritating. And then after a while both of them stood up and Helena said, "Thank you for today, Rowena, and please give my regards to His Majesty." Rowena said, "Of course, then I shall be off," and then she left. Helena was thinking that Caesar's having a very hard time as expected. I wish I could help him by his side, but if there are too many eyes in the palace. But then suddenly she said, "Agat, can you close the door and come over here?" Agat closed the door and asked, "What is it, my lady?" Helena asked, "Do you think you can get your hands on a palace maid's uniform for me?" In her mind Helena was thinking that this is the only way in through infiltration. After a while, Helena was wearing the maid dress. She said, "There is no one like you, Agat. You managed to acquire the palace maid outfits so effortlessly." Agat said, "Even a maid uniform looks like a beautiful dress." Helena said, "I have changed my hair color too so no one will recognize me, right?" Agat said, "Not at all. And I also found out when the servants change shifts, they checked His Majesty's room every night." After hearing this with a bright smile, Helena said, "You are the best." Both of them were holding each other's hand, and Agat was thinking that, "Please give me more compliments." Helena said, "Excellent. We are perfectly prepared, so go to the palace." After some time both of them reached to the palace and Agat said, "I have tied the ribbon, and I will watch and keep the other servants from coming this way." Helena said, "I will leave it to you, Agat." Agat was going towards the other direction, and said, "Then good luck on the mission and on love." Helena was thinking that, "What do you mean?" She said, "Okay, everything is ready." She was moving in the palace and thinking that, "It's almost time for a shift change, so I will take a quick look at Caesar's face and come right back out." But then when she was about to reach to Caesar's room, she noticed that someone was standing outside of his room. She paused for a moment and looked at the person. It was Leonard. She was thinking that Leonard is guarding the door, but then suddenly someone came towards Leonard and said, "Hey, Leonard." After seeing the other person, Helena was thinking that, "Lord Joseph is here too?" Joseph said, "His Majesty have coughed up blood again." After hearing this she was thinking that, "What?" Leonard asked, "How is His Majesty doing?" Joseph replied, "He's taken his medicine and is now asleep." Leonard said, "We even checked all the food before they are sent in. What in the world is going on?" In an unstable state Helena was thinking that, "What is this?" Joseph said, "I will go ahead and fetch a physician first." Helena was thinking that this would not do. "I need to take a look at Caesar right now." She came forward and said, "I'm here to change out His Majesty's clothes." Leonard looked towards her and said, "Helena?" Helena said, "I can't believe I would caught so fast." Leonard said, "Well, I'm your brother, and when not it will be harder for me to not recognize you." He asked, "What's going on and what's with the uniform? Could it be that you overheard the conversation just now?" Helena said, "Yes, I heard that Caesar is unwell." She asked, "Has he been sick all along? Why didn't you tell me this whole time?" Leonard said, "His Majesty told me that he did not want to cause worry over something trivial." Helena asked, "What do you mean trivial? How is coughing up blood a trivial matter?" She said, "Let me in. I need to see how he is doing." However, in a serious tone Leonard said, "No, even you cannot enter. I will let no one inside." Helena said, "I'm not just anybody, Leonard. Think of it as an instructor visiting her sick pupil." Leonard said, "Go home, Helena. I can tell that much only." Helena said, "Leonard, I understand you have been guarding the door, and many people have been serving him. His Majesty is still in critical condition." She asked, "Who's been by his side this whole time?" Leonard have nothing to say. She asked, "Is anyone even with him right now?" He paused for a moment and said, "No, there is no one with him right now." Helena said, "I thought so." She was thinking, that's simply the way things are when you are in the Emperor's seat. That has everything, but ultimately, nothing remains in your hands. That's what it means to be the emperor. Of course, there is no one next to Caesar right now. She said, I was not trying to rebuke you, Leonard. She squeezed the clothes in her hand and said, let me in, please. Leonard said, I don't think I have the right to be the commander of the Imperial Guard anymore, so you have to come back right away. Helena said, okay, and then she opened the door and entered. Caesar was laying on his bed, and Helena came close to him and thinking that he is deep asleep. Even his breathing looks stable right now. She was sitting beside him and thinking that he's gotten so gaunt. Is he not eating properly? But then suddenly she realized he may have a lot of work to do, but it's strange that he suddenly lost so much weight. She grabbed his hand and thinking that, I'm sorry, Caesar. If I should be by your side, this would not have happened. And then she kissed on his hand. Suddenly Caesar made a sound. Helena was thinking that he has a fever, so these clothes are totally inadequate. He will catch cold. She noticed something on his chest. She was thinking that what are these bruises all over him? She became angry and said there is no way someone hit him in that spot. She unbuttoned his shirt and thinking that nearly all of his torso is covered in bruises. Could it be poison? Caesar put his hand on her cheek and said, Sword Master, did you come to visit me? She startled and said, how long have you been awake? And then she nodded and said, anyway, yes, it's my duty as your instructor to visit you. He stood up and said, a surprise visit? A surprise visit from you in this get-up, I'm happy. And then he hugged her and again laying on the bed. He said, I wish I would stay like this forever. He was squeezing her very softly. She closed her eyes and said, I will stay with you for now, so go to sleep. He said, okay, don't go, stay with me forever. And then after a while she stood up and thinking that he's finally asleep, she said, don't be sick, Caesar. Whatever happens, I will protect you. That's all for today's video. If you want to know what happened next, then like and subscribe, Alchemy Animation YouTube channel.